Food. It's lovely stuff. I can't get enough of it. But then neither can bacteria, mice and cockroaches, and they're all things that could make you ill. So how do you ensure that you get to the food before they do?
Well, places that sell food have to follow very strict rules to make sure that we don't end up eating contaminated helpings. But making sure those people follow those rules, well, that is a massive nationwide challenge undertaken by a very special group of people.
Bring on the food inspectors.
This is the series where we're out on the road with the food inspectors.
You need to get your act together.
They'll discover the restaurants where no one seems to know what they're doing.
You can't have a rabbit where you're preparing food. You need to take the rabbit out now. Oh. Take the rabbit out now.
And we discover the visitors that no restaurant ever wants to meet.
You have so many live cockroaches there in the preparation area.
What are you playing at?
I'll be revealing the truth about the hidden world of food crime that could put you in danger.
Probably would indicate some kind of illegal slaughter.
Enough bones for 60 pigs.
And I'll be finding out how some of the country's biggest food manufacturers keep us safe.
This doesn't look like a kitchen, this looks like a science lab.
This week, as horse meat is discovered for sale in supermarkets, I find out what goes into an economy burger.
We visit the restaurant that needs painting with something that isn't cooking oil.
It all needs redecorating and needs deep cleaning, and your cleaning generally needs to be improved.
We meet Britain's hairiest food inspector. If she sits down next to your luggage, you're in trouble.
This is your bag, madam?
Yeah.
Do you have food in that bag?
Yes.
What food have you got in there?
Just a pastry.
If anything has meat in it, you're not allowed it.
We investigate claims of meat for sale in London that could bring disease into the UK.
I wonder what, is that from Africa? African one, right? African one.
It's a time bomb waiting to go off.
And I meet the lady who believes she was nearly killed by a ham, cheese and tomato sandwich.
She looked so bad, I didn't think she was going to pull through.
A burger in a bun. What's better than that? OK, maybe it's not such a tasty proposition after last week's news that the Irish authorities had discovered some pig and a little bit of horse in some of the economy burgers that we're being sold. But the point is, what are we eating exactly? And does any of it affect the safety of our foods? Last week, the Food Safety Authority of Ireland revealed they'd analysed 27 different burgers. 23 of them contained pig DNA and 10 horse DNA. High street names involved included Lidl and Aldi. But what attracted most attention was the meat in the Tesco Everyday Value beef burger, which was found to be 29% horse meat. Tesco apologised, said they will work harder than ever to make sure this never happens again. They withdrew all the implicated products, as well as offering customers a refund. I want to know why no one's noticed their burger has horse meat in it. Could it be because of the way economy burgers are made? And does value have to mean poor quality? I've come to meet Danny Lidgate, a fifth-generation butcher, to find out exactly what is in a burger.
Our burgers are mainly beef. Minced beef, a little bit of breadcrumb, some salt and pepper, and that forms the perfect award-winning burger.
OK, so if I was to ask you for an economy burger, could you sort me out with that?
We could try. We don't actually sell economy burgers, but we can try and construct something together.
Well, out the back?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's see how Danny makes his premium burger. It's almost all beef, to which he had some seasoning and a handful of breadcrumbs.
That's it, Charles plate.
Perfect. Some supermarket burgers cost as little as 12 pence each. So what goes into them? This isn't the Tesco recipe. We're making a burger using the lowest legal amount of beef for an economy burger. These burgers are made with cheap minced beef that contains lots of beef fat and connective tissue, as well as powdered flavourings and fillers. These ingredients are all safe, but did you know you were eating them? The law says that less than half an economy beef burger has to be beef, but that may not mean what you imagine. A quarter of that beef can be fat, and a quarter connective tissue. That means that less than a quarter of the whole burger is actually the red stuff you probably think of as meat. And let's have a look at your one, Danny.
Yep, that's in there.
So that one, pound for pound, will cost you 4 times as
4
much.
times the amount.
OK.
A different flavour.
The economy burger looks totally different. But how does it taste, and how will the same economy burger taste when made with some horse meat? All we need now, Danny, is a chef to cook them.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Okay.
Hello, Thomas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. As a Frenchman, have you tasted horse meat? What's it like?
It's a bit stronger. It's a little bit more gamey than the beef.
Thomas is going to cook 3 different burgers. Danny's quality burger, an economy burger made with the legal minimum of beef, and an economy burger where around a third of the meat comes from a horse. I want to know if I can taste horse meat in an economy burger. We're going to start in the middle. First up, Danny's burger. That is solid, juicy, succulent, really good. My creation. It's rank, and it barely tastes of meat. All over Britain, families on a budget are buying economy burgers. It worries me they may not know just how little meat is in them. Here's the economy burger, but now with added horse. We've never had horse before. Here we go. I honestly couldn't tell the difference between the burger with the horse in and the economy burger with just beef. OK, now I'm off to the Food Standards Agency, because if you can't taste horse in your burger, then they are pretty much the only thing stopping you from unwarily eating one. Up till now, the official line has been that there's no risk to public health with this. Is that still the case?
There's been nothing found in any of these samples that would have made them dangerous for people to eat.
Where is this investigation right now?
The manufacturers have stopped production in the factory in Ireland that was particularly affected. And, of course, the retailers have removed all of the affected products from sale. We're carrying out a programme of tests, and that will tell us whether this is a one-off instance or whether there is a problem which goes wider.
But realistically, why were these checks not taking place before?
We can't check 100% of everything. We try and check things where there's a risk to human health or where we've got reason to believe there might be a problem.
Do we have any idea how long the horse meat has been something that we've been eating? You know, do we know if it's months or years?
Well, that's one of the things that the investigation needs to get to the bottom of, and we will be looking to find that out as quickly as we can. Having eaten a beef burger with some horse in it, I can tell you now categorically, if you've done the same, you won't have known about it, because you can't taste it, really. But the slightly disturbing thing is the FSA don't know at the moment either. They don't know what it was in, they don't know where it came from, and they don't know how long it's been around. They're trying to find out. For the moment, that doesn't fill me full of confidence. The food inspectors do have a habit of turning up unannounced because it's the only way you can really tell how a kitchen is being run.
But what that means is that they're likely to see things never meant for public viewing.
And sometimes it's not pretty.
Food inspectors are sometimes more like grime detectors.
And this area you're not going to use anymore for raw meat.
Russell Jenner has been on the front line for food hygiene for the past 33 years.
Could be very dangerous bacteria.
13.2 is above the legal maximum.
Everything in a kitchen, good or bad, gives him a clue about how the place is being run. Tonight, he's visiting the Taj Balti House takeaway in South London. On its last inspection, it was awarded a 3 out of 5 hygiene rating. Not bad. It has since had a turnover of staff, and Russell is keen to see how things have changed.
The key is to get in and have a look immediately and just make sure there's not too much activity going on before I put my white coat on and stuff. So that's all sorted. Doesn't look terrible, but we shall see.
Front of house might be OK, but what will the kitchen be like?
Now, if you feel down behind there,
Yeah.
you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel all the food debris on there?
Yeah.
It's looking pretty dirty at the Taj Balti House, and Russell doesn't like dirt.
Why have you got cardboard in there?
Sometimes, this is going to be very hot,
You shouldn't have cardboard in a place like this because it's absorbent. You can't keep it clean.
Yeah.
Anything that can't be washed down will end up noted down in Russell's little book.
This back door's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
I can scrape dirt off, you see. That's just scraped off the bit you touch every time you go out the back.
Yeah.
If the door's dirty, then hands will be dirty and they could end up in the food. Ugh.
I can't do my inspection without getting greasy.
Yes,
Shows the touch surface is very dirty.
Clearly, there is an inadequate cleaning procedure.
What do you use to clean down with?
We got, the DPU. I got a spray over there.
And you don't want to be cleaning down a food surface with oven treatment?
Yeah.
OK.
So
where's that?
Which one?
The spray?
Oh, that run out.
It's run out?
Yeah, run out.
Not the first person to tell me that.
Yeah.
A dirty kitchen with no cleaning products. It doesn't get much worse. No time like the present.
Well, you need to go out and get some.
Yeah.
You need to do. Somebody needs to do that now because you will be chopping raw meat here tonight, and you need to have this clean.
Yeah, OK, no problem.
Well, that really is a very important thing.
Running a restaurant isn't just about cooking food. Documenting the daily health and safety checks is a vital part of the business. But here at the Taj Balti House, the cleaning diary appears to be completely blank.
These diary sheets, who's supposed to fill these in? Do you fill this in?
No.
Every day when you come in, you have to work through these opening checks.
That's right.
Now, when I come to do an inspection, I expect to see that tick.
That's right.
And a diary note with your name and details.
That's right.
Russell has seen enough and is in no mood to mince his words.
Your Safer Food, Better Business folder needs bringing right up to date, and you need to be trained on how to use it.
That's right, yeah.
I'm going to send a letter to you, but it all needs redecorating and needs deep cleaning.
No problem.
And your cleaning generally needs to be improved, and it will need to be done urgently. Your score will only be a 1.
1.
You won't get higher than a 1 because your Safe Food, Better Business isn't being done. I'm not satisfied that there's a proper food safety management system in here.
The hygiene score has dropped from a 3 to a 1. It could be worse. Only just. They now have 3 weeks to clean up before Russell comes back.
See you then.
And we'll be with him later on.
Well, a bit disappointing, really. The cleaning was very poor. There was a lot of grease and dirt everywhere. And really, I just didn't feel the food safety issues were being managed there.
42p of every pound spent in the UK shops goes on food and drinks. That's a lot of cash, but with huge profits comes huge responsibility. A small mistake and the consequences to the consumer can be catastrophic. Every week, we've been given exclusive behind-the-scenes access to some of the largest manufacturers in the UK who've been showing us how they keep Britain safe. Curry and rice. I know you can have curry and chips, but I love curry and this lovely white, lovely stuff. But did you know it holds a dark, poisonous secret? I mean, heat it and eat it absolutely fine. But reheating it, and you could land yourself in heaps of trouble. You see, rice contains a bacteria, Bacillus cereus. Once cooked, it starts to produce toxins. Home-cooked rice left at room temperature for just a few hours can make us sick, even if it's reheated. Large manufacturers of food produce millions of pre-cooked rice dishes every year. We reheat them, and we have no problems at all. So what is it about these tiny grains that can cause such big trouble? And how do food producers keep us safe? This is VT rice in Kent. And it's all gone a bit space age. Looking good. Oh, Sharon, nice to see you.
Hello, Chris. Sorry, have you washed your hands?
Yeah, this morning will be fine.
It's not good enough for here, I'm afraid. We have to do things properly. Come through here, let me show you how to wash hands.
I can wash hands. I know how to wash hands. As in all food preparation, it's all about cleanliness. Time for another silly outfit. I've washed my hands, what, 3 times now? Was it necessary?
It's absolutely necessary. Washing your hands and all this protective equipment ensures that what's outside stays outside. Now, you just touched your mouth by pulling your face mask down, so you need to go back there and wash your hands.
Seriously?
Yep.
Well, it might look like a bit of a rigmarole, but you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, wow, it looks like something from Star Trek.
We're just going to go through and have a shower, OK? It's a dry shower, it's an air shower.
So that gets rid of everything?
That gets rid of any loose debris. Removes any fine particles. Ready?
Yeah. So how clean is the air in here?
Probably, in comparison to, say, your household atmosphere, it's about 10 times cleaner.
Fresh from my shower, I feel nice and clean. But what about the rice? After all, this is the important stuff. Before it's cooked, it's sterilised with high pressure at 140 degrees Celsius to kill off that bacteria. No bacteria, no toxins, no sickness. Can't I do this at home? Just put that rice in and boil it?
You'd be hard-pushed because water can only boil at 100 degrees in a normal atmosphere.
Finally, it's time for the cooking. Not in water, though. They use acid. But don't worry, it's pretty mild. But this stops any more harmful bacteria from growing. Now completely sterilised, the rice travels into another room. And this room is so clean, even I'm not allowed inside.
If you can imagine what we talked about earlier, this is 10 times cleaner than your domestic environment. Yeah. That inside there is at least 100 times
so that's
cleaner.
Really, really clean. Then it's labelled up. It still needs to go through a leak detector and an X-ray machine to check no metal has fallen in. Not what you'd want with your chicken jalfrezi. So what do you need to know if you're cooking rice at home? Well, freshly cooked is safe. If you want to save any cooked rice, get it in the fridge within 30 minutes. It's best not to keep cooked rice in the fridge for longer than a day and reheat it only once. Or, if you own a rice factory, try superheated steam and mild acid baths. There's more to this food business than meets the eye.
Ooh, lovely and hot. Tastes great too. So to all the pre-cooked rice makers in the UK, I thank you and salute you. Keep protecting Britain.
Food business is big business, and it can attract people who cut corners. Every week I'll be investigating a food crime that is not only an illegal act, but which can put you and your family and anyone who eats these foods at serious risk of illness.
One of the beauties of living in the UK is that we can, if we choose, eat food that originates from almost anywhere in the world. The downside is that other countries sometimes don't have the same standards and stringent food laws that we have here. And if unsafe ingredients make it onto these shores, they can end up in everyday foodstuffs, millions of things that we wouldn't ever be suspicious of. So, crucially, who's doing the checking? And what happens if something slips through?
Our first line of defence is at places like this. The Port of Felixstowe. Over 40% of our import-export trade comes through this place, including 5 million tonnes of food contained in 250,000 containers. How on earth do you keep an eye on it all? Well, these guys do. They are Felixstowe's food inspectors. We get our food from every corner of the earth. Spices from India, noodles from China, meat from New Zealand. And one box out of here. You might be surprised what needs to be checked. This food from Japan was produced near the Fukishima nuclear disaster and has to be checked for radiation. Now, the thing is, I mean, this is not huge doses of radioactivity, so why are we that bothered? If we're not bothered about it standing here next to it, why are we worried?
It's potentially going to be a different matter if you're actually eating the food. If you're ingesting food and there's any associated radioactivity, you're going to be taking that directly into the body.
Thankfully, all these products were safe. And noodles from China are being examined for traces of aluminium that may have slipped in during manufacture.
The concerns is all to do with risks to the nervous system, and also you might be interested to know the male reproductive system.
Is that right?
Yes.
You're putting me off my noodles. Yes, compounds containing aluminium have the potential to damage a man's ability in the baby-making department. It's no laughing matter. All these products were safe. A huge consignment of chili powder has arrived from India, and John needs to test it. You and I are repelling the spice invaders. Do you like that?
It's quite good.
Thank you. That's as good as it's going to get. Let's spear. Let's do it. John's testing for aflatoxins, a chemical produced by mould that can contaminate spices, flour, and even cooking oils. This is bad. Long-term exposure can lead to cancer. Oh, that's good.
I think that's one I've already done.
No! Where? These sacks were safe. 7 years ago, though, it wasn't aflatoxins that were threatening our food. It was a type of food dye, Sudan 1. In February 2005, it emerged that a dye used in products like waxes and shoe polishes had been used to make chili powder red. If you eat enough of the dye, there's a suspicion it can cause cancer. All of our ports, like Felixstowe, do a great job keeping our food safe. But what I want to know is how imported foods might be slipping through the net and exactly what dangers they pose. I've come to the office of the government chemist to meet Michael Walker. So the work that's happening at Felixstowe, absolutely crucial. More worrying, if anything, though, are the things that escape that system, that go round the side, if you like. Typically, what are we talking about?
We're talking about food which is personally imported, food which is a delicacy in countries of origin, which may not be available through normal sources of trade.
So the sort of food that people bring in their luggage, of course, would never find its way into here. It just doesn't come anywhere near what you do.
It's not sampled and tested, no. No. And nature can spring some nasty surprises.
It's no use just watching the docks. 30 million travellers come in and out of Britain every year, many by air. And you won't believe what some of them have in their suitcases. Are you feeling hungry?
What the grasshoppers for?
Later on in the programme, we'll be out with the officers of the border agency.
Nope. This is not allowed, so that stays with us.
Now, when we talk about food poisoning, you probably imagine a dodgy takeaway or restaurant. But believe it or not, nearly half of all food poisoning is caused by you and me cooking at home. It's a frightening thought. Are you a potential food disaster waiting to happen? Well, to make sure you don't become another food statistic, I'll be visiting a kitchen, a home or a workplace near you, and I'll be bringing an unexpected visitor, our very own food inspector, Ben Milligan. Today, I'm talking babies. They look lovely, don't they? But as any parent knows, anything and everything has a tendency to go into their mouths. And this brings a whole load of particular challenges in the food hygiene department. Today, I'm in Filth near Huddersfield because Colette has invited me around for lunch. Now, Colette and her husband have 3 small children, including 1 little baby. And as any parent will tell you, they are especially vulnerable to food poisoning and tummy bugs. So when it comes to cooking food, hygiene has to be of the very highest standard. So I wonder if Colette will pass the food inspector's test. Hello.
Hello.
Are you Colette?
I am, yes.
Ah, well, I'm Chris, and I'm coming for lunch. Who's this one?
This is Harry.
Ah, what have we got? Anything tasty?
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Come on,
in.
then. I'm starving. Everybody knows kids a bit more vulnerable to tummy bugs and food poisonings. Do you take extra precautions?
Not with my 2 eldest, not with Freya and George, but to do with Harry. Sterilises bottles and dummies and spoons and bowls.
At first glance, Colette's kitchen looks pretty clean to me. But is it? I know a man who can find grime in the cleanest of places. Well, it does look immaculate in here, but I've got a surprise for you.
OK.
Here he comes. Here he is. That's Ben, our food inspector.
Hello, Ben.
Hi there. Well, he's going to have a good look around your kitchen and he is going to give you either a red light or a green light to see whether you can cook for your kids this afternoon. Between you and me, this kitchen is cleaner than mine. I can't see this taking very long. Come on, Ben, find that grime. Let's start with the kitchen sink area. Always a bit dodgy. Bacteria love it here.
It's a reading of 11,300, so that says it's not clean.
Next is the fridge now, and this is often overlooked. This one looks brand new, can't be a problem here, can there?
Right, so as you can see, it says 4 degrees on there. It's quite a new fridge, so I wouldn't expect there to be any problems, but when you open it up, you see that it's crammed full of stuff.
Lastly, it's Harry's bottle. It looks clean, but is it? If there are any bugs here, they'll be going straight into Harry with his next feed.
It's been sterilised, it's been stored in the fridge, so we're expecting this to be 0.
OK, kids, it's nearly food time and your lunch is hanging in the balance. If the kitchen's clean enough, Colette can get on with it. It's time for Ben's results. First up, the kitchen work surface. Ben's swab meter measures organic matter. This can be anything from simple dirt to food to bacteria. Any reading below 1,000 is a pass. What was the reading?
The reading was 4,716. So that says to me that you're not cleaning your surfaces properly. How do you clean your surfaces?
I don't use chemicals, I just tend to use baby wipes because I've got children.
Right. If you're wiping up with a baby wipe, you're not killing any of the bacteria or organisms that are there. Especially with young children around, you should really be taking extra care to make sure that anything that's on those surfaces are killed.
OK, not great on the work surfaces. Could do better. What about that fridge? Oh, it's immaculate.
Yeah, I've got no problems with the cleanliness. It's nice and clean in there. But it's absolutely packed full of stuff.
Yeah. Packing your fridge to its limits means the air can't circulate to keep it cold.
8 degrees is the limit. Above 8 degrees and bacteria start to grow. The actual food temperature in there is 10 degrees. So if you store your bottles in there for a long period of time, if they're not cleaned or sterilised properly, then those bacteria can grow over a period of time.
So, top tip, don't overstock your fridge. Unopened jars don't usually need to be in there at all, but please do check the label first. And lastly, what about Harry's bottle?
I swabbed it. You would expect that to come up with 0 because it should be cleaned with hot soapy water, antibacterial, washing up liquid. But we didn't. We got 624.
Wow. Colette looks pretty shocked. It's time for a Ben masterclass on how to wash bottles before sterilising.
Once we've done that, make sure that it's all nice and clean with hot soapy antibacterial water.
Yeah.
Make sure that you get any hardened bits of milk or any residue out of there.
So ideally you want a little brush to get that in the nooks and crannies.
You get brushes for it, and at the end, on the end, they've got a little corkscrew one that goes up into the end.
To be honest, I think Colette's done pretty well. But our Ben, well, he does have pretty high standards. Most kitchens that we've been to, nowhere near in the league of this one.
No.
And I think it's important. We're trying to get it to the absolute peak of hygiene. So 10, 15 minutes of help from us, we could sort this out. So here are a few top tips. Always clean your work surfaces with antibacterial spray. Ideally, use paper towels and throw those dirty dishcloths and sponges away. Wash and sterilise babies' bottles really thoroughly. And don't overpack your fridge and keep it below 5 degrees centigrade. The food inspection is over, thank goodness. What has Colette made of it? Mind your little leg.
I've learnt now that I can use antibacterial wipes and washing up liquid, and it's perfectly safe for children. Also how to sterilise properly and not to put as many unopened jars in the fridge. It'll make a huge difference to me now. Obviously, hopefully, I'll be a lot cleaner, which is a lot better for my children. So onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Now, Matt, you've got kids, haven't
you? Yep, no problems there.
You ever seen them drop the food on the floor, pick it straight up and eat it?
It's terrible. And, of course, a lot of people talk about the 3-second rule, how if you pick the food up within 3 seconds, it's then safe to eat. I mean, that's nonsense. It's 5 seconds.
Well, Matt obviously needs a bit more training, as do some people in the food industry, because ignorance makes our food inspectors very, very angry.
Gillian Morse has been inspecting food-selling premises for 10 years, currently in Cardiff. And she has eagle eyes. Nothing escapes her.
Do you know what temperature your dishwasher is? Is the sink used for anything else apart from washing salad?
Do you think that's acceptable?
Today, she's on her way to see convenience store The City Bakery. The shop has new owners, but she wants to ensure it's meeting established standards of hygiene.
How often do you clean underneath it?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day clean and mopping.
So how often are you checking your dates?
Daily.
Every day?
Yeah.
Questions are good. The shop looks tidy, and readings on the freezer cabinets are spot on.
The temperature's fine.
The shop also sells meat, and at the back of the store, workers are busy with butchery. But Gillian starts to spot signs that all may not be as well as it first appeared.
So what do you intend to do with these gizzards you've got on the floor here?
We just, if you finish it, and after that you take it out.
So do you think we can do that now then?
Meat that isn't for sale needs to be disposed of as quickly and safely as possible. But Gillian also has concerns about the meat that is for sale.
So you haven't got any dates on any of the food, so how can you tell when it's to be used by?
Because it's coming fresh every day.
How do you know what's old and what's new?
We have every day. We don't have like...
So what you're saying to me is all this will be gone today?
The shop's owner has reassured her that the meat is fresh, but Gillian's also curious about all the hygiene safety certificates on the wall.
So Red War Khalid,
Yeah.
it's gone?
It's gone, yeah.
So, do
you want to take,
so you need to get rid of his certificate then?
So at least one of the certificates is for somebody else. Surely some of the others will belong to people who actually work in the shop.
Handling other food. What about Ali?
Ali was in here working.
He's
yeah.
gone as well?
He's gone
So
now.
you need to get rid of that as well then. OK, so that gentleman now, he's just touched the floor, put something in the bin, now he's going straight back to food handling. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about basic hygiene, so he needs to wash his hands.
Breaking a basic hygiene rule in front of a food inspector could be a sign that not all of the staff have been properly trained.
So where's his training certificate?
Exactly.
Have you got one?
It's a new, long time.
What's this gentleman's name? What's your name, please?
My name is Sam.
And what training have you done, Salmon?
I just want to learn for the butcher. If I like it, if I don't like it, I left.
OK, so you haven't had any formal training either?
No.
OK. Right, I'm a bit concerned because obviously you've got 2 food handlers without any training, so they really need to be supervised.
Hygiene certificates aren't compulsory, but it's clear to Gillian that the staff need to be trained.
I'll write to you with a legal notice about the training.
OK.
And I'll be back to check.
OK.
Gillian may be off to another inspection, but the owner's still in no doubt as to who's in charge.
I'm happy, OK. She's strict, that's OK.
What I've said to him is I'm going to serve a legal notice now for training, and I'll be back in 2 months to check on that.
I'm back on the trail to discover how we're kept safe from potentially dangerous imported foods. Official imports are carefully checked. But how do you stop people bringing things in their luggage? That's a lot harder.
We're talking about food which is personally imported, food which is a delicacy in countries of origin, which may not be available through normal sources of trade.
Well, our Border Force officers are onto it. Experts believe some foods brought into the country in people's luggage could pose a serious health risk. You may not know it, but Gatwick Airport is home to an elite unit. Their job is to protect our borders, and on their wanted list is illegal food.
You're not allowed to bring that in.
Bindi the dog is one way that they seek out banned food.
So have you got any food in your bag?
If you have smuggled goods, and if you head down the green lane, you may find yourself confronted with the Border Force. We're at the arrivals gate, and Bindi's nose is doing overtime.
Madam, have you got any food in your bags?
Bindi's magical schnozzer can sort passengers who claim to have no food into two groups, those who are telling the truth and those who are a little bit forgetful.
No, this can't come into the UK, no.
If Bindi sits down next to your bag, you are busted.
Have you got any food in your bag?
I have some chocolates.
She's on the hunt for any meat or dairy product from outside the EU. Since foot and mouth created an economic catastrophe in the countryside, we Brits place even more importance on the kind of foods allowed into the country. The measures exist to prevent outbreaks in livestock. We already know about foot and mouth, but also bird flu and swine fever. And they're there to protect us humans from contaminated food.
This is your bag, madam?
Yeah.
Do you have food in that bag?
Yes.
What food have you got in there?
Just a pastry.
Now that Bindi's identified the bag, this passenger has to open up her luggage.
Do you understand that from outside of the European Union, bringing in any meat or dairy products is forbidden?
I mean, cooked one.
Makes no difference?
Oh, no.
No? OK. Right, I need to have a look at what you've got.
She said there's only some chicken inside. Let's find out.
Oh, I can smell it. I know, you can smell it, unfortunately. It's dry.
That's fine. What's in here?
That's, I think it's cheese.
OK, you can't have any cheese either.
No.
So no cheese, no meat, no milk.
Now, the fruit is fine to go through, but the jar full of cheese has to be incinerated. And what about the homemade sandwiches?
This year has got chicken in it.
OK, we'll need to take that one then, I'm afraid.
Can we eat it? Can't believe you're hungry, Troy. Can we eat in here before we give it?
I'm afraid not.
In fact, there are over 2 kilograms of illegal food here. While she loses the food, she also gets an official warning not to do this again. People are prosecuted every year, and the system works because Bindi's nose played a blinder.
I love it when she tells me there's something in a bag and the passenger's adamant there's not, and yet she's right and there is food in there. It's such a nice feeling to know that she really does know what she's doing.
Bindi isn't just on the lookout for the kind of packed lunch that many of us would take on a plane. Not everyone travels with a cheesy snack pack and mini yoghurt. An airport fills with people from around the world, and they can bring their own specialities from home. Like this meaty roll.
I have no idea what that is.
Or look at these. Grasshoppers, anyone? Do you know, the funny thing is, they're actually legal to bring in.
I mean, what do you use, what the grasshoppers for?
It's a delicacy, sort of, how can I explain to you? It's a delicacy.
So, now you know, grasshoppers in small quantities are fine. The food you don't want to be caught with is anything containing meat products or milk, cheese or dairy. Some less obvious products too. Potatoes are banned. If in doubt, it's worth checking on the government's website. That's defra.gov.uk. Back on the front line in Gatwick, Bindi's been busy. This woman is having trouble identifying her own food.
Squim, yeah. It's squim.
It smells of beef, it doesn't, or red meat. That doesn't smell of fish. There's no fish there. No, I think that's meat, so that's going as well, I'm afraid.
It's not meat.
And this family from Vietnam have brought a whole suitcase full of food.
This is not allowed, so that stays with us. Noodles.
The packets of noodles are fine, but a 2-litre bottle of cooking oil is a trickier proposition. If it's vegetable oil, as the woman claims, it can come in. If it's animal fat, as Hazel seriously suspects, then it's a one-way trip to the incinerator.
OK, let me just do something, OK? If the dog sits down, she's telling me something that you can't have, OK?
Hazel is already pretty sure this is animal fat. Now she needs Bindi to back up her suspicions.
I can only go by what the dog says. She's telling me it's something you shouldn't have.
This elderly lady has claimed that she's only carrying dried apricots. Bindi chooses to disagree.
It's butter, OK? No. No. I would say for that. It's meat. No meat. No.
You said you have no meat. Şuraya gel. Gitme parasını veririm çocuklarım.
No.
Pirinç.
Cheese.
Peynir.
Cheese. Yeah, that definitely smells like cheese. No cheese. I don't know what that is.
Well, that's lunch down the tubes. She wants to hang on to what she's got. But Liz, Bindi's handler, is quite clear.
It's coming to touch you.
Come back. Çocuklarım parasını veririm. Leave back. Değil mi? Hadi kurban olayım.
Our Border Force officers seize thousands of kilos of banned foods every year. But even though they do a great job against a flood of dangerous and illegal products, they can't be everywhere at once. So are determined smugglers still finding a way in? Join me later when we go shopping.
African one, right? African one, real African one.
I told you.
It's a time bomb waiting to go off.
Once again, I'm talking about food poisoning from my food lab and how it affects your body. I've got another terrible story to tell you and a few tips to make sure you don't become another victim. This is the story of Carol Stabb from Exeter. She's a housewife. She's been happily married for 34 years to her husband, Ray. It says, according to our files, she was an active person in fine health until one day the couple decided to go out for lunch. An innocent lunch date that would change her life forever.
I said, how about going out for lunch? Where are we going to go? Oh, we'll go to a restaurant. So we went off quite happily, you know. I had a panini with tomato, ham and cheese, and my husband had something different.
For the next 12 hours, everything seemed fine.
On Saturday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, woke up with really bad stomachache. And I thought, oh, why have I got that? You know, I haven't eaten anything apart from the panini different that I know of. And then, within hours, I started the diarrhoea.
When the diarrhoea showed little signs of ending, Carol's doctor sent her to the hospital for some tests.
And my doctor phoned and said, we have had reports from the hospital. It looks as though it's E. coli.
E. coli is usually connected with meat, such as undercooked burgers. But Carol hadn't eaten any meat. Because it can also contaminate the soil, vegetables are also carriers. Bean sprouts, potatoes and leeks have all been causes of major outbreaks of E. coli. The E. coli bacteria multiply in the bowel. It then produces a toxin that seeps into the bloodstream where it attaches itself to white blood cells. It then travels to the kidneys where, in extreme cases, it can cause kidney failure.
I had to have 10 sessions of plasma exchange. And that's when I started to realise how ill I was, because 25 of those bags a day, and I had them for 10 days. And then as soon as those finish, I had 4 hours of dialysis.
Dialysis is life-saving treatment. We give dialysis for patients with acute kidney injury who have complete kidney failure, otherwise they will die.
When I saw her in intensive care at one time, she looked so bad, I didn't think she was going to pull through. And Carol and I, you know, we're like bookends, you know. We come as a pair. And I felt pretty useless, not being able to help her, and very, very worried.
10 months on, and the dialysis has ended, but Carol has lost 80% of her kidney function and regularly suffers from dizzy spells.
If I try to walk too quickly, I lose my balance if I go to turn left, and I easily fall over.
It's been a tough time for Carol, and she still doesn't know for sure that the E. coli came from that sandwich.
It could have been an unwashed tomato, or it could have been somebody using the same chopping board to chop meat up with, and then chopped up vegetables with it. It is as simple as that. Just a little bit of kitchen hygiene would have saved this.
And you can use just that to save yourself from a fate like Carol's. Slice off any part of the vegetable that's muddy and discard. Always wash the rest of the vegetables thoroughly, and always use a clean knife and chopping board.
We're back with Russell Jenner in Reigate, and he's about to revisit the Taj Balti house.
I sent them a letter immediately after I visited. Sort of laid down the law, really, and said, you've got to get this sorted. There were quite a few things that needed immediate attention. You feel all the food debris on there?
Yeah.
I can't do my inspection without getting greasy. So where's that?
Which one?
The spray.
Oh, you run out.
You run out?
Yeah, run out, that's good.
Not the first person to tell me that. We'll see how they're getting on anyway, and I'm hoping for a big improvement.
2 weeks ago, he found a poorly run and filthy kitchen and gave them a food hygiene rating of only 1 out of 5. This time, he's found manager Abal Akhtar front of house. What will he find in the kitchen?
Well, that does look a lot better.
Thank you.
A lot better.
The smile says it all as Russell powers through his list of previous problems.
That's lovely and clean behind there. This is a lot better. You've got good separation there between cooked and raw. Look at that. Lovely. Sanitizer. Where's your sanitizer? Excellent.
They have got the sanitizer, but have they got rid of the dirty cupboard liners?
Okay, fine. Lovely.
The filthy door's been repainted, but Russell is about to have his socks blown right off.
Is this a new fridge? Have you cleaned it?
No, this one's all been cleaned.
Wow.
But we're getting a double one anyway.
You do need a bit more.
Picture, so it's £500.
Lovely. Let's just see what the temperature is. 2.6. That's good. Lovely. You've done that a treat, so lovely.
The cleaning is clinical, and food preparation and storage have been transformed. But are they filling in the book that records all this good work and ensures that it continues? Has anyone learned how to do paperwork?
It's done his opening checks, and everything seems fine. You're doing this, aren't you? So you're doing temperature monitoring, so that's good. Okay. Just sort of in summary, vastly improved. A lot cleaner, very pleased with what you've done, and I know it's a lot of effort that's gone into it. I know these things don't come easily. It just feels so much better in there than it did. It just felt horrible to be in there, whereas now it feels nice and fresh. Now, with regard to your food hygiene rating score, you can apply for a rescore. Okay. Then there has to be a 3-month gap, and then I will turn up unannounced like I did the time before. But hopefully I'll find all the things I've found now, all nice and clean, and I can uprate it. It'll certainly go up to 3, and maybe even 4. Just depends what we find on the night. OK, then. They've obviously put a lot of effort into getting that better. You know, he's determined to get it improved. He seems to have a fair bit of nous, and I think he's capable of doing it.
I've done my bit as much as I can, and the man's happy with it now. So that's all I can say.
They smile a lot more when you go around and visit like that. On the first one, they're always looking very worried. They know they're in the wrong, they're probably pretty ashamed of it. Whereas you go around like that, they've taken some pride in it, they know they've worked hard, and it's just nice to see, yeah.
I'm on the trail of illegally imported food. First up, I visited Felixstowe docks to see how our legal imports are checked and tested to keep us safe. Then we met the Border Force officers and Bindi the dog at Gatwick Airport. They routinely stop and confiscate illegal foodstuffs coming in from outside the UK. But the final part of my journey has brought me closer to home. This is South London. The woman in front of us is an undercover reporter, and she's investigating the sale of illegal meat. We've been tipped off we can buy African bushmeat, wild animals brought in illegally from this and other butchers in London. This practice is completely prohibited. I've invited Dr. David Bailey, a forensic vet, to watch the footage with me.
I wonder what, is that from Africa? Yes. African one, right? African one, real African one.
I told you.
You sure?
Check it.
Okay.
I just cut it.
How much is this one?
What is of interest is it actually has the hair and the skin on it. If that was slaughtered in a regular slaughterhouse, certainly in the UK, that's taken off. You can't sell meat with the skin, with the hair on. It's just not done. So automatically I know this is illegal meat. He claims it's from Africa.
Our reporter has told the butcher she wants African bushmeat for a party she's having with friends.
Come. You sure it's the real one, no? I don't want this for party. I'm having party for my friends.
Don't worry.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
When the people eat...
Tasty, that's what I want, yeah.
Very tasty, not tasty. It's very tasty.
Okay, put it in a bag, okay? 2 bags, please. So it doesn't... My dear friend. As long as it's tasty, it's for party. That's what I'm... And it's from Africa, African one. Good, solid one from bush, eh? I trust you.
The butcher seems keen to tell our reporter how he claims the meat has come into the UK.
It's coming on that table. That's why it's very special.
Africa.
France,
Okay.
The world coming underground.
I see, underground.
That mechanism that he described, the Africa, France, UK pathway, it is a well-known pathway for bushmeat to enter this country. General people in the public wouldn't be aware of this pathway, so that's not common knowledge. So that's interesting that he can explain that.
So is that why it's expensive?
Yeah.
Oh, I now understand. Okay. So I can call you to order more for me next time, eh? Yeah. Tasty one.
I mean, what he's describing there is smuggling, isn't it?
The pathway that he describes is smuggling, if what he's saying is true.
David's changed into a hazard suit and mask to protect himself from any infection the meat may be carrying. He already thinks the meat is illegal because it's been sold with its skin on and the spinal cord intact. Spinal cords must be removed from all livestock except sheep under 12 months old to guard against BSE.
You can see a cross-section of what it is. It's difficult to say. This is where it articulates with the body, and this is the head. The head here, body here. This is the neck, and this is the top of the neck. And then, if you want to join them together, this is the right foreleg, and that's the neck. So this is how they were joined. I've examined the hair on a sample provided to me, and I was unable to definitively identify it, just because I think there is some sort of smoking, appears to have soot or smoke or has been burnt, and this has been applied externally. It hasn't been cooked, it's been applied externally.
This could be a smoky, an African delicacy where usually a goat or sheep is blowtorched to enhance its flavour. These are the first impressions, and the meat will have to go off for DNA testing before we have a definitive answer. Yeah. But with David's hands-on examination complete, I'm keen to find out where he thinks the animal may have come from. If we put those samples together with the evidence of the footage, the way the man that was describing, what do you think about the origin of these pieces of meat?
His story, it fits with what I'm saying, that the origin of these animals is not within the UK. It scares me that you can source this stuff apparently so easily.
What are we talking about in terms of the risks of bringing that piece of meat onto the market in the UK?
Quite a few diseases that can be brought in that we don't already have here in the UK. If you go back to 2001, there's a foot and mouth disease outbreak, and that affected only livestock, affected a lot of people too. That's a recent example. I was involved in that outbreak. That's a recent example of just how devastating this can be.
Seeing that piece of meat being sold over the counter like that, what does it do to you?
We have a pathway from Africa into the European Union, into the UK, and we have people that are prepared to sell and buy this stuff. It's not a hypothetical risk. It is a real risk. It's a time bomb waiting to go off.
Our DNA tests come back from the lab, and they say this meat is from the sheep family. There are two possible explanations. It's either a sheep smoky from Africa or an illegally slaughtered UK sheep that's had the smoky treatment. Both types of meat are illegal, and neither would have gone through any health checks. After filming, we asked the shop assistant if the meat was from Africa, as he claimed. He said he was joking and not being truthful. The Food Standards Agency told us they have supported a number of local authorities in successfully tackling the illegal meat trade. They added that although most bugs in food can be killed by cooking, illegally imported food should not be eaten because it's evaded official controls and could therefore pose a danger to human health. In the UK, we take food safety very seriously. At our ports and airports, we carry out stringent checks, but there still appears to be an active market in illegal meat that could threaten the safety of both us and our livestock.
Back in Cardiff, and last time Gillian Morse visited the city bakery, she found that many of the hygiene certificates on the wall were, in fact, for people who no longer work there.
So Rebwa Khalid, it's gone. So,
you want to take,
I need to get rid of his certificate then. What about Ali? He's gone as well, so need to get rid of that as well then.
They cause the food hygiene rating to drop to a 0. It's 5 weeks later, and she's come back to find out if everyone's completed the training she asked for at the general store.
I do what you want, I do.
Already?
Everything planned.
Everything?
Yeah.
The owner, Kareem Mohammadi, is keen to show off a handful of shiny new certificates. He's prouder than a pushy mum on prize day.
Level 3.
Yeah, okay, you told me.
Yeah, very good.
For butchery,
Yeah.
and this one, butchery, is coming. Yes.
Distinction.
Yeah.
Very good, excellent.
To match the new certificates, he's even bought a new butcher's outfit, and he's keen Gillian sees the receipts.
For the aprons, is it overclothing? Yeah.
Well, Gillian still wants to check all the certificates now match the members of staff.
So I'm just going to take down the details of certificate numbers, the names, and cross-reference them to the issues and the individuals that I picked up on the first inspection. And then I can check off the notice to say he's been complied with.
The owner, Kareem, is confident the certificates will match up. He now wants to talk about that 0 rating for hygiene.
I want a rescore.
A rescore? Yeah, that's fine. On the 23rd of January then, you'll be able to apply for a rescore because you have to wait 3 months. So providing I come back in January and I can see that you are working to this document and you are filling in your records.
I listen to you.
And everything is in place.
Tell me anything mistake, I do. I'm so happy because exactly some job I passed today. They tell me say nothing wrong, no notes, so we come back. They give me higher risk in January.
I suppose it was better than I was expecting, if I'm honest. At the moment, he's a 0 rated premises. I mean, in theory, he could go up to a 5. There's nothing to say that he couldn't go up to a 5. To be honest, I really don't know. It depends what I find in January.
So always bear in mind, there may be certificates on the wall, but they may have nothing to do with the people handling the food.
And the golden rule is this: if you're at all concerned about what you're going to eat, ask, because that way you'll get more information. That's it for this week. We're off. You've had your chips.
Bye. Chips?
Yeah, it's a food-related thing.
But we were talking about meat.
I know, but it was just...